New York, and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
We have a special edition of T.I.'s podcast happening on Ebro in the morning. It's called Expeditiously.
Expeditiously in the morning.
Has come to Hot 97.
Wow, that's big. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? T.I.,
right
give it
on.
up.
Hey. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
What are we talking about today, sir?
Man, well, see, that's the thing. This is the Seinfeld of podcasts.
Oh, wow. It's a podcast about everything and nothing
at the same damn time.
Love it.
So I think, we'll just start the discussion with anything interesting and see where it takes us.
Wait, do you have a favorite episode? How many episodes have you done?
Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Probably about 18. Well, it's about 17 that have come out.
Got it.
But I probably got about 10, 12 more in the chamber.
Do you have a favorite?
As of right now, I think Killer Mike. Or my wife. I'm supposed to say my wife. It was my wife's show. My wife's show was the favorite.
That was the one.
Favorite.
Was the one.
Was that
Which
hard?
is the most
was the
recent.
wife one hard for you?
Nah, not at all. No, not
Did you guys get into any territory that you felt the public did not know about?
I felt that I know that she made, like me, I was having an in general kind of, as it pertains to anyone on earth kind of discussion.
We gonna keep this specific.
And I know because, from past conversations with her, I know some of her statements were from, specific situations, which, it's cool. You know what I mean? I ain't tripping. Because one thing about me, I don't shy away from anything that it took to get me here. You dig? Because I'm happy with where I am.
That's beautiful. That's the goal, right?
Yeah, that's freedom.
That's true freedom.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you comfortable within your own skin and you happy with the place that you now, the position you now assume in life, then anything that happened in the past that led to you getting to this place, you cool with it. I don't have to shy away from it.
That's beautiful.
I don't have to be, you know what I mean? So, it wasn't uncomfortable for me.
Go ahead, Laura. I'm sorry.
You did mention Killer Mike, and I'm just curious about your time at the Revolt Conference.
Yeah.
How was it being on that panel? And tell us maybe something that we didn't get to see behind the scenes.
I think, man, you pretty much saw the highlights. Everything was cool, man. Everything was cool until afterwards, until it hit like the net, and then that when folk, got in their feelings. They got in their feelings.
Who specifically got in their feelings?
The black girl.
Candace got in her feelings.
Yeah.
About what? Which part?
I don't know, man. She just as Killer Mike would say, the media used our moment to villainize her.
No, she's done that herself.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, well, you kind of have to say something in order to be villainized.
She went and sat in front of Congress and has tried to make excuses
that
for white
was
supremacy.
after the fact. Let's not even get to that. Let's talk about at the time of the panel. That hadn't happened.
No, I think she'd already done it once. This is the second time that she's went back to Congress. Right, Ebro? That's twice she's done it.
I was unaware.
I feel like this with regard to her. I feel like she is interested in being popular. Right?
Yeah.
And the change that she's attempting to make socially is not taking into account and giving people space to be traumatized by whatever their family members and people have gone through due to white supremacy, police brutality, or policy that has been put on and maneuvered by the people she aligns herself with.
Man, guess what? I'm gonna take it a step further. You being nice. She being used for propaganda.
Facts.
You dig what I'm saying? That's just that. You know what I mean? Whether she understand it or recognize it or not, which I believe she does, she being used for propaganda. And looking.
You think she was trying to use Kanye West when she was trying to align with him?
I actually think they have some similar views. You dig what I'm saying? I feel that they were probably left out in the dark. It's an Anakin Skywalker story, I feel like, with Kanye and with her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the people who they wanted to validation and acceptance from so much kind of turned their cold shoulder to them and left them out of the group message so long that they was like, well, fuck y'all, I'm gonna go over here and be cool with them.
Guess who else is like that? Who? Donald Trump. He desperately wanted validation from the rich in America. They never
New York
wanted
City
him,
never fucked with
accepted
Donald
him.
Trump. Rich people in New York City never fucked with
Donald Trump was
honest
like,
with
he started saying this shit about Obama. He started trying this birther movement thing. And then, these racists love me.
But see,
I'm gonna go over here.
But see, this is the thing though. He had a lot of, much like them. Like once you do shit and you fuck up, there's accountability that comes with that. And I think that a lot of people want to not be held accountable.
Absolutely.
And they call that accountability, they call it, I guess, a cold shoulder. Like, for instance, when Ye went up there, man, and snatched the mic from the white girl, from Taylor Swift, and, said what he said, did what he did, even if he was speaking truth, that just wasn't the proper way to kind of, So when people dealt with him like, man, you did some bullshit, man. And when Obama got on there and said, man, I think he's an asshole.
Jackass, yep.
Jackass, you know what I mean? Those are the effects of the actions that you cause. You dig what I mean?
This is life talk.
So you kind of have to accept that rather than
be mad at
oppose that. You know what I mean? You kind of got to be like, yeah, man, I might have been tripping. Let me eat that.
But you're expecting egomaniacs who everything is based around their ego to be able to put their ego aside and humble themselves. And I agree they should.
I'm a self-diagnosed narcissist, also. So I understand what it's like, to be so in love with yourself that it's hard to see what the rest of the world is saying. I get that. But even in that moment, you have to be, again, as I said before the mics were cut on, honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. You got to be honest with you. You can lie to everybody else and make them think whatever you want them to think, but you must be honest with you first.
Mm-hmm. Now, you show up to the church in Atlanta.
To see Kanye.
To support
to
Kanye,
see Kanye, yeah.
who you've been critical of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys disagree on things, but...
Absolutely, we still do. I mean, but I think that...
He's still your brother.
Absolutely, man. He's still a brother.
So you go to support Sunday service.
What I already have.
Yeah, you did.
So I've gone to one.
That's what I'm saying. Even when you had gone to the church in ATL, you had already been to one before.
No, that was my first one.
Okay, that's what I meant. So you showed up to support his...
I showed up because it was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, so he's here in Atlanta, man. I'm going to go check him out. Even if it is at a church that,
has a past. But they got rid of and have some new people that came in and they're trying to... No.
What exactly
I ain't say
happened?
nothing. I ain't,
there was a pastor at the church that had some sexual allegations. I don't know if it was assault. I don't know to what degree.
There was a video.
Okay. So there was a video of it. Yeah. It was a big deal in Atlanta. Anyway, that guy's gone and they have a new pastor.
That guy's dead.
Oh, dead. Okay,
Yeah,
gone.
he's dead.
So he's really gone. They have a new pastor.
I thought it was over some money situation.
Well, no, that's...
There's probably a little bit of that in there, too.
Right.
But that's also what fell... So you go to support Kanye, and then it came out later that the church, while you were there, was trying to get you to give some money. What actually happened?
Look, man, I don't want to blame it on the church too much per se because I didn't witness that from the pastor of the church. But you know how church have like guest pastors to come preach? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? The collection buckets had already been passed around.
Emphasis not on plate, but bucket.
Yeah, the white paint kind.
The big one.
Yeah, the white paint
Gotcha.
bucket.
Yep.
Whoa,
Deep. They're
okay.
deep.
Yeah, the car
Hold
wash
a lot of
buckets.
money.
The car
Yeah,
wash
sure.
They're
buckets.
trying to fill it up.
Okay.
Hey, man, I'm just saying. I mean, hey, I don't want to be
I've never seen
presumptuous.
that before.
I don't want to be presumptuous. I'm only stating the facts.
I've seen a plate. I've never seen a bucket.
Listen, man, they had a bucket, man. Let the man finish his
So,
story.
Fine.
so the buckets were passed around before Chains and I took our seats in the front row. There was seats saved for us in the front row. And as I walked down the aisle, I walked past JD, Bow Wow, Yachty, Coach, Brian Barber. You know what I'm saying?
Who's who of Atlanta hip hop?
Yeah, it was. And Killer Mike was across the way, which I didn't know until he hit me. My son, Demani, was across the way, which will get funny later. But anyway. So as we sit down, the pastor of that church is up there and he's talking, I think giving announcements or something. And then he says, but now we're going to get to a special sermon. And I was like, oh, okay. He got to be talking about Sunday service. Cool. And he says, all the way from Houston. I'm like, Kanye came from Houston? And then he says, whatever dude name was, and brought the other pastor out there. And I can't remember this pastor name, but he must have been the tithe whisperer. His entire sermon was about sacrifice, giving money. Now, listen, I understand that churches live off of the contributions from the congregation. I get that. But to bring this, like for this guy to come out and have this particular sermon about sacrifice and go so far as to tell stories of when he was in the place of, where he had to give his last 5 figures or $10,000, however many dollars, to cover the deficit of the budget for a church, and he didn't want to do it. But he said that when he got the notion to do it, you can't think about it. You got to just do it. Mm. And so, that's what he did. But then he said, what I need right now, I need 20 people to give up $1,000. Let's count. 20 people. Stand up if you... And so people start standing up.
Are you $1,000?
Yeah, that's what they said. 20 people.
20 people $1,000.
Yeah, I'm looking around.
Never seen this before.
And at this point, I see it. I know exactly what's going on. And
I was looking at you like this.
I love this man.
You know what I'm saying? Because I see what's going on, and I can't believe everybody's going for it.
My God.
I can't believe. I'm telling Chains, you better not. And he's like, what? Chains like, man, I go to church. This is what I do. I'm like, hey, listen, man. Well, give me 100. You know what I'm saying?
So he stood up.
No. Chains didn't stand up. He, I think he very, discreetly slid whatever he thought was appropriate. And my wife, she going in her pockets. I say, you better not. Zip it right now. And I mean, for real though, I mean, you know what I'm saying? We have since I spoke to the pastor of that particular church, and he understands where I'm coming from. He thought that, he could have dealt with it a little differently, and he saw the error in the way of that particular decision. But I don't want to be too critical of the overall, because I know so many black people, they depend on that Sunday inspiration, and they think it get. But the problem I had with the guy, this is it. When he was counting the 20 for the $1,000 for people, when he said this is when I really got mad. Come on, y'all, get your blessings heard.
No.
Are you telling me?
Fam.
Keep going.
My God.
Yep.
Needs me to pay you $1,000 so he can hear my blessings? So he can hear my prayers?
Now, y'all know that's how the Vatican was built.
Yeah, man. But see, that's what I'm saying.
This has plagued many churches for a long time.
But yeah, like that to me, like I'm like, all right, bro, you done lost me. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. For one, I'm walking in here already with a preconceived notion of what religion is and what it's meant to do to a large group of people. I already know what it's for. So, but I'm having an open mind. You dig what I'm saying? I'm here to see Kanye. I'm here to see Sunday service. So, you know what I'm saying? But when I sat down, it's like all of my beliefs were confirmed. Mm. You dig what I'm saying?
Now, do you believe, do you believe Kanye's genuine in his journey for spirituality?
Yeah, I have no reason not to believe it. And even more so, it felt good to see him in such a stable place. You dig what I'm saying?
Because you had seen him in another place.
Yeah. He was just, he was just doing shit before, Now I feel like, you know what I'm saying, he's moving with a purpose.
And this is one of the great things I always feel about religion, whether you are skeptical of, like what you said, how religion has been weaponized before.
Sure.
I do firmly believe that it is phenomenal for many people to have that spiritual focus.
It's transformational. You know what I'm saying?
Do you how do you feel about him selling the expensive merch and all of these things associated with?
I don't care. I mean, I think that, to be honest with you, Kanye is an artist, so that means he distributes art for a living. Now, if his art is motivated and inspired by his spiritual connection, and that's like, these are the things that come with his art, and his art is for sale, I don't think that it's wrong that he puts, like, that's his truth. You know what I mean? He's sharing his present experience. And
you can contribute to that if you feel
but you getting something. You are receiving something for it. If you think, man, I ain't finna pay no $500 for no hoodie, then all right, cool, don't pay it. But if you want that hoodie, you gonna pay what he asked you to pay for that hoodie. It's a conscious decision that one must make. He's not putting no gun to nobody's head and telling them they better do this. If you know what I mean? If you agree with him to that point, or you think that you just got to have, if you such a hype beast that you want that $500 hoodie, then go on and buy it.
And the same thing goes for the ties at a church or whatever. If you feel like you want to contribute that because you received something.
Yeah, sure.
So can you explain
guess.
to me? Because, okay, I'm not going to go to a Sunday service ever.
Why?
One of Kanye's Sunday service, because I'm not interested. But, so people are
The
going to
music
this
is
church.
dope, though.
No, but listen, so people go to church,
Yeah.
usual church
But
goers,
but
right?
it's not usually in a church, and that's the thing that I felt was kind of weird and off-putting. It's usually like out in the woods and stuff, like
Right.
in a field. You know what I
Because
mean?
it is interesting that he's choosing churches, because he did it here in Jamaica, Queens. Also, it was in a church, right? Yeah. So, mass is going on, and all of a sudden, he's like the special guest.
Sure.
And then he breaks into his songs. Am I correct?
Right. Yeah.
That's what happens?
Yeah. Pretty much.
And then it turns into like a concert of sorts,
Kinda. A little bit.
including some of his classic hits. Does he talk about bleaching assholes when he's in the church, or no?
Well,
Stop,
no,
come on.
listen,
what
there
songs is he
are
singing?
amended versions. There are
edited
amended,
Church mix.
they change the word. They do all kinds of songs and change the words to them.
They're doing R&B records and
Yeah,
changing
they do
them to
R&B records
more
and change the
yeah.
words to them to speak to God. Hey man, look man, I don't know, bro. I don't think it's even fit for me to judge on
Well,
things
no, you could like
that.
it or dislike it.
I mean, I think it
That's fair.
I think it's a positive energy.
Yeah,
You dig what I'm
that's good.
saying?
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
think it's a disbursement of positive energy. You know, and that's all I can really say about it. And I don't hold him to the same standards as I would someone who puts pastor, reverend, bishop, or something like that. Or
Because they're
reverend
already, you're
in front of their
presuming
name.
some level of spiritual responsibility when you
Spiritual
put that stuff.
responsibility, authority, and you dig what I'm saying? Like
Morals.
like just like you expect a teacher to be smart, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We certainly expect the teacher to have the interest of the student in mind.
But what I'm trying to say is, if you are a teacher of math, I expect you to have the right answer. And that's because you are a teacher. You put yourself in that position to where you are the authority on the matter now. Okay, so I'm holding you to a high, like a policeman. I expect for a policeman to live within the law.
That's right.
But
dig
in
what
the
I'm
case
saying?
of the pastor, for example,
Right.
why I would say it's more about expecting the teacher to not only know the right answer, but to want to give you the right answer.
Absolutely. Help you find the right
That
answer,
pastor
right.
knew the truth. But what he was more interested in was getting people's money so they could hear the truth. That's the part to me where I have a real disconnect.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you hear all this, you can imagine why this man's podcast would be so successful.
Well, I just
This
think
is
you got
enjoyable.
to, yeah. Well, I honestly just think you got to have your own personal connection. If you depending on somebody else to get you your connection with God or to connect you to God, that's where you're gonna be lost. You know what I mean?
That's
So I
fair.
think a lot of people.
Anytime there's a middleman in between you and your destination,
Absolutely.
you could pretty much.
You gonna pay him. That's it. You gonna pay him. You know what I mean? And I don't need no middleman to get my. And honestly, like, God speaks to people in His own way at His own time. You don't go to no particular building. I think in the Bible it say that God will not be found in man-made structures.
It does say something like that
You dig what I'm saying?
in one of the books.
You know what I mean? So, and that's another thing. Which Bible are we? Is God's word?
Here we go, man. Come on.
Is
That's
God's
why we're
word
supposed to use God's name in
everlasting?
vain.
Well, these are the words that were delivered and put on paper
What I'm
from
saying.
individuals, human beings that claim that they had access.
In the Christian community, is it not assumed, believed, and stated that God's word is everlasting? Is it not?
That's correct. I believe.
Okay. So how you gonna go in here and change the words? How do you change the words in a book that are supposed to be God's words and they're supposed to be everlasting, but you can justify changing the words over and over and over again to suit society?
Well, even before you get to that, you got to understand, and then we're going to jump off this because I'm going to let people go ahead and find it for themselves. Just look up the Council of Nicaea, which was a meeting of all of the most powerful religious individuals in Europe who decided which books would be in the version that most of y'all are reading anyway.
You see, that's why I can't go with that. I can't go for that. And that's the thing. If whatever you call me for that, man, then that's what I am. But I can't go for that, man. You can't piss on my head and call it no rain. You dig what I'm saying? I understand that. And this is when I learned this, and this is very, 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 it's small in the scope of things. And I'm sure if you look hard enough, you could find your own examples of this. But, when you got your wedding vows, you're getting married, right? And me and my wife had a joke about this. When you're getting married, it used to say love, honor, and obey. It no longer says that. Mm-hmm. Now, okay, not to say that I want my wife to obey me or that I would expect her to obey me any more than she should expect me to obey her. But how are you going to change this? How you going to change this? If God's word is everlasting, we supposed to kind of fit into an acceptable version of what the word already says and not change the word to be acceptable to what we feel it should be.
In theory, yes.
Because if that is the case, then this whole book I would turn the whole book over. Like, what are we doing? I mean,
you're talking in absolutes, and people evolve. And I don't disagree with nothing you're saying.
But that's just why you can't play along with the whole thing.
I can't go with it.
So
I can't take it seriously. I can't really take it seriously at this point. You know what I'm saying? When you tell me God word everlasting, then you go and change your words. Of course I do. Of course I do. I know God is real, but that's because of personal experiences that I've seen him.
But sometimes, and I wanted you to clarify that because some people will interpret
not believing in the book,
Right.
not believing in books, or not.
I don't believe in religion. God is real, and I know God is real because I've seen him have an effect in my life. I've been in cars that were shot up, and it's holes where my head was. And I wasn't shot. That couldn't be nothing but God. You dig what I'm saying? I know God had a hand in my life because there's no way that I could come from where I was in life, end up right here where I am, through all the trials and tribulations and shit that I made it through without the universe having a hand in it. You know what I mean? I believe God is energy, and I also believe that, the voice of God, you'll never get closer to the voice of God than hearing your own voice in your head. You know what I mean? If God gonna talk to you, he not gonna talk to you like a white man talking down a long hallway. You know what I mean? He gonna talk to you in the most familiar voice that you know. You know what I mean? The most comfortable voice that you had, and that's yours. So when you talking to yourself in your head, to me, that's God speaking to you.
T.I., you are very active with Tamika, our sister, on the National Day of Outrage.
Yeah.
What is happening at the National Day of Outrage? What do we
Man,
want to see?
Which
happen?
one?
Right.
Which one? We talking about the 28th?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, it says Monday. That's Monday, the 28th.
Yeah, on the 28th. Well, that's man, to be honest with you, man, it started as a demonstration for the sister in Dallas or Fort Worth.
Tatiana Jefferson.
Yes, who was gunned down by the policeman in her own home after playing video game with her nephew. But then we see this other case in Indiana where the young lady's son was abused by the husband of the owner of the daycare. And so now that is also a purpose, and it's like shit just keep happening, and so I'm definitely supporting the demonstration. You know what I mean? In whatever way I can. I think that it's so much going on. We all have to do our part. And it's not about black, it's not about white, it's not about rich, poor, Democrat, Republican. It's about decent and indecent. You know what I'm saying? If you're a fair and decent person and you believe in treating people the way you would want to be treated, you believe other people's children should be treated the way you want your children to be treated, then you with the movement. You know what I mean? I think that all of us have to have a hand in it.
Do you with your platform and the podcast, you being involved in a lot of social movements over the last several years, and we've had many conversations about it. And also now sitting at the table with policy conversations, I'm being told. Like you talked local in Atlanta,
sure, having
these conversations. What do you think or see are some of the most necessary things people could do in their local community right now?
Well, I mean, I think that's on a lot of levels. I think volunteering your time, whether it's just going out and picking up trash and just, keeping the area that you occupy like free and clear of debris and trash and filth, and filth comes in all kinds of fashions. And also, if you earn enough to where you can actually do more for the community, I think opening businesses that fill the void of the underserved areas of our communities. And if you are a leader and I just say, just use your strengths. Everybody has strengths. Use your strengths. If your strength is if you're a hell of a basketball player, then go coach Little League. You know what I'm saying? Offer some experiences. I think all of the needs of our community kind of fall into three categories: education, opportunities, and exposure. You know what I'm saying? So, and education don't just mean in school, because I'm a firm believer we ain't gonna get nowhere depending on our oppressor to educate our children. You'll never catch Jewish people sending their children to a school that celebrates Hitler as a hero. And that's what we're doing as black people. We send our children to school to celebrate. Like, I took a class in 8th grade in Atlanta. It was called Georgia History. All we did was celebrate Confederate soldiers. I ain't gonna say celebrate, but all they did, like the answer to the test was, who was this person? He was a famed general who did this, who won the battle of, but he lost the war. We the only ones, we the only country to celebrate losers. We celebrating these losers. The Confederates, listen, man, I don't give a damn how you feel inside. Listen, man, you lost. And had you won, you'd expect us to roll with it. But you lost. So why are we still talking about it? So I think, but education can't begin and end in schools. Outside, stepping outside, sharing your experiences with young brothers who is going to have to navigate the same journey or the same roads or the same things that you did to get where you are. Tell them something that can get them where they need to be faster, safer, in a way that, they can avoid some of the nonsense that we went through. Educate yourself. You know what I mean? Open books and read books about other people's experiences who, like the Malcolm X book, it shows you how somebody can be...
autobiography of Malcolm.
The autobiography of Malcolm X, yes, Alex Haley. So that shows you how a man can go from selling dope, pimping, bullshitting around with his time, get a prison sentence and have this sentence and use that sentence to his advantage, filling his mind with the knowledge that he then uses when he is released to change the direction and the trajectory of generations. That's an example of that. And if he could do it, everybody who is in the position of I guess the poverty-stricken areas, they can do it too. But they need to know that by the example that has been set for them. So I think everybody has a hand to play and a part to play in.
And you and Killer Mike, great relationship even after the Revolt thing?
That's my brother, man. Man, I don't know what the hell the Revolt thing, what did that mean? I don't get
I mean, a lot of people thought maybe y'all had some friction or something.
Man,
Why?
zero. Absolutely not. Why? Because we disagreed. See, that's the
These
thing.
things happen.
That's the thing about our culture and our generation. They think that like anytime, and to be honest with you, he really wasn't even talking about me because I never said I wasn't defending anyone. I was just opposing one.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I didn't, and I occupy I subscribe to the policy of if it don't apply, let it fly. So when he said that, I didn't feel offended because I didn't feel he was speaking to me, or speaking in reference to me. But even if he was, that's my brother. It's all right for him to have a difference of opinion to me. And we disagree all the time about things.
I don't even think y'all was disagreeing, to be honest. I think he was trying to help her clarify what she was talking about with regard to make America great again.
He saved the hell out of her. And I asked him why he saved her. He said, man, she's still a sister. I'm like, yeah, man.
That's actually the problem I have with it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of people giving passes to people who look the same as them. It's not, and in fact, not giving passes to people who look different and might be on the same side as you.
That makes a lot of sense.
I love Mike, but that part, I feel like I guess this is selfish, but I feel like I walk a path where every day I talk about these issues. And if one day I accidentally said something that someone thought was overstepping my boundary, I would be dragged to hell and out of hip hop in a moment.
You would.
Candace Owens, Tip just speaking straight facts.
Right.
Candace has been nothing but bad since the second she showed up.
This is true.
She's a pawn for the man. We all see this.
Yes.
Oh, I need this cosign
But
from
we've
Tip.
seen this before, though.
And and Candace will still get people to go, but come on, give her a shot. For what?
I don't think no more. I don't think no more.
You think it's over?
After they saw her at Congress, you know, saying that what was it? She said that white supremacy is fake. It's a hoax.
Fake, yeah.
I think, you know what I'm saying? I think now people see it. But that's what it took.
I think people have always
going to Congress to say white supremacy.
That's what it took. Now we know the line.
That's the line. You have to go all the way to Congress.
You got to go all the way to Congress.
She was out of here when she said Black Lives Matter was a terrorist group. She was out of here
for us, those of us who are knowledgeable about that. But I'm talking about to the common person just who only has Instagram to feed them their information. I think that's what it took. Now it's like, fuck that bitch. You dig what I'm saying? Before it's like, well, I don't know. Because everybody always, you know what she does? She does a great job, she did a great job of saying radical things that everyone would disagree with, but then ending her statement with, the Democrats have always been wrong for us, and you ain't got to be a Democrat if you black. So a lot of black people agree with that point.
For sure.
But because she grouped it with the rest of these unagreeable points, it make it seem like the people who agree with that last point also agree with this other shit. See, she's done a good job of that. But now, since Congress, they're like, nah, bitch, I ain't going no more. Nah.
Who you voting for?
Shit, who's on the ballot?
So that's what you're waiting for?
Is
there a scenario where you would vote? Is there somebody on the Democratic side that you wouldn't vote for and you would still cast a vote on the Republican side? Nah.
Well, I'm anybody but Trump 2020. To be honest with you.
Right.
I am. And that because I think he's horrible. He's just a horrible example of leadership for this country. He doesn't represent the totality of the American people. And that has nothing to do with, you know, his constituency or what party he represents, any of that. It's just, bro, you just represent divisiveness. And to me, as far as the Constitution states, America is about togetherness. It's about coming together, diversity, allowing opportunities to people who couldn't afford opportunities for themselves in other places. And I just don't think, and you just a laughingstock. Like, you're a laughingstock.
An embarrassment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
International embarrassment.
International embarrassment. I like that.
It's yours.
That
Go
should
ahead.
stick.
Take it. Use it on the
Yeah,
podcast.
international
Make a shirt, an
embarrassment.
Expeditiously shirt with it.
Yeah, I like that. Agent Orange, the international embarrassment.
The show you're on with Cardi and Chance.
But let's wait a minute. Let's not breeze past, the 2020 elections because
sorry, go
I
ahead.
do want to say that the one person that I think right now, if the election was tomorrow, the only person I think that really, really has a chance to beat him is Bernie.
Bernie.
Yeah, he the only one with.
Tell me why.
I mean, his base. He has a strong base. He has strong positions, strong views. He's the antithesis of Donald Trump.
And you think it needs to be, for this to actually, someone to have success beating him, they need to be a strong difference.
And he has to have a strong vice president because of his age and his health scares.
Well, I would even also say that he's probably too progressive for a large group of people that you don't necessarily hear from a lot.
But that's the thing, though. I think that is what we need to
No, I agree.
galvanize.
I'm fine with Bernie. I'm fine with Bernie. I have no problem
But his
with that.
vice president is important. You know what I mean? I think Bernie and Andrew Gillum, that's a ticket that I think could beat Donald Trump.
I think
we've
Biden
debated
met
this.
with Gilliam.
Biden met with Gillum.
Didn't Biden meet with Gilliam?
Biden
got some splaining to
I
do.
think he did.
Biden got some splaining to do.
Tell me on which.
I'm just telling you that. I'm just telling
Or maybe
you
he
that.
met with the lady from Stacey
Stacey
Abrams. He met with
Abrams.
Stacey Abrams. I apologize.
Stacey Abrams is also a phenomenal choice. I campaigned with her when she ran for governor. She's a brilliant lady.
But back to Biden and his explaining.
I think that, the comments that were made about, about crime and as they pertain.
Well, he
to
led
people
the
of
crime
color.
bill back then. He was one of the
Yes.
advocates for the 1993 crime bill.
Yes. But
See,
I'm
but-
talking more about the statements
Got it.
that were made.
The
Talking
video
about,
of him talking about, I don't want my mom being robbed by these, this one and that one, et cetera, et cetera.
Those things are going to have to be overcame because the other side is going to use that to manipulate
For sure.
the people who could potentially, and it's going to confuse.
Happened with Hillary too. The super predator piece
That's
with
what
Hillary.
I'm saying.
Yes.
But
So
everybody,
that's why.
but everybody's okay with Trump's ad in the New York Times about the Central Park Five.
No, his people are okay with that.
No, his people are okay with it. But that's why I said you need the antithesis of that.
Right.
And I feel
Well,
like
I hope
you got to have somebody
watched The
squeaky
Great Hack?
clean.
You watched The Great Hack?
I have not.
If you don't, you
Okay.
have to watch The Great Hack
Okay, write this down, please. She's getting
and
it.
The Family.
The Family.
The Family.
Okay.
Two things on Netflix.
Okay.
The Great Hack is about how Cambridge Analytica used our behavior on social media and all you and your family and friends
Okay.
to get that super predator thing going and where it actually came from,
Right.
right? As well as the bots and the whole.
So that's what they were talking to Zuckerberg at Congress about.
Zuckerberg is also a part of this Great Hack
Yeah,
convo.
yeah.
And we had an interview with the guy who teaches here at the new school,
Right.
who teaches technology, I forget his thing, about how, you know how people say they think their phone is listening to them?
It is.
But what they don't realize is the websites, the things that they've double tapped.
Right.
When you like a photo,
Uh-huh.
the things that the person has done
Okay.
in their social media, unrelated to you,
Right.
also become a part of your
You become culpable.
in anything. So you double tap a photo.
Right.
If they double tap some Nikes, if
Then
that
you're going to get Nike sent to you.
all of that goes together. All of it bundles up. If you
That's-
shop for something,
Okay.
it's gonna be in your feed.
Now, see, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the geofencing of it all. You see?
Now that's the advertising part where they
Yeah.
know. So for the longest
Like I
time-
rode past it was there's a burger spot that's on Sunset and La Cienega right by the Pink Dot.
Yep.
It's a burger spot. I'm coming up La Cienega, about to make a left on to Sunset, and I see the burger spot to my right.
That's right.
I look down at my
Your
at my-
location was on. Your location services were on.
Yeah, because I was
That's
using
how
my
they-
GPS.
That's
I
how
was
they know
using
where
my
you are,
GPS.
'cause you gave them access.
And on my Instagram was a sponsored ad
Because you have location
by
on.
this burger joint.
That
you
was
have
right
location.
there.
That was right here to the right of me.
Turn your location services off. You used your GPS.
Well,
But
I
still,
needed
that's
to
crazy.
know where I
People
was.
need
I
it.
needed
They
to
need
get where I was
location
going.
services.
Now, which GPS do you use? Google?
I use just the Apple, just the Apple joint.
So,
I just use the one that come with the phone.
yeah.
I only use Google Maps.
So Google is going to have access to your behavior.
But he's saying Apple Maps did it.
Yeah, but Apple is also going to have access to your location services.
Yeah.
It's a lot to do, man.
I'm just saying, if you want to know how it's...
That's like a form of AI, though, right?
Yeah, algorithms, all of those things. But that's all if you want to know how it's really happening.
Yeah.
And also the other thing you got to watch out for, you want to 2020, the reason you got to watch The Family is because you got to learn how the Christian right is moving out here. See, I've been saying that the family's gotten to Kanye West. Because it's all about Jesus.
I mean, listen, man. Like...
No, but that's what the family's all about.
But let's let him watch that and talk
Okay.
about it next time. Because otherwise, it will go back to Kanye and Jesus.
Yeah,
We'll do it
yeah.
after you
Let's not
watch
do
the
that.
dot,
Let's
and we'll get back around. Maybe it'll be an album.
Look at his face. Look at him. Look at it. It's a lot to deal with out here.
I mean, man.
Expeditiously podcast. Go look for it.
My grandmama used to tell me a while ago, man, when she was still alive, I was a little boy, we living in the last days. And I thought, man, you just old. You know what I'm saying? You living in your last days. That's what I was saying, right? But she was right. Man, listen, man, this shit is coming to a head. And I honestly believe that they I don't want to say they trying to perpetuate things that would lead to a civil war. I believe we're already in a civil war. It's just that we don't know it.
It's not guns and all that. It's
Yeah,
a different
it is
type of war.
guns. It
It's
is
guns,
guns.
but it's different types of things.
Different
that are
things.
under,
Attacking us from the water
there you go.
to chemtrails in the air to the food to education to the soaps and the deodorants and everything.
You can't even use talcum powder out here no more without getting cancer.
I
Johnson,
never did. I never did,
You wasn't a
man.
big talcum powder
I
person?
take sweaty balls, man. I just take a shower, man. I just take my sweaty balls.
Thank
dig
you,
what I'm
T.I.
Ladies
saying?
and gentlemen, T.I., man. Yo, T.I., before we let you leave, you're at the Apollo.
Yes.
Saturday.
Saturday.
What's going on? What are you doing?
Well, I'm in the play Between the World and Me.
The Ta-Nehisi Coates book?
Ta-Nehisi Coates book.
Is it a play now?
I guess it's a stage adaptation.
That's
Got it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I call it a play because I'm just, uninformed and I lack culture to the point that...
Sound like a play to me,
It's a play.
man.
People coming in, sitting down, watching people
You
around.
act- that's a play.
To
It's a
be
play.
or not to be. It's some Shakespearean shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's a phenomenal event. We did it in Atlanta. It's Pauletta Washington. You have Lynn Whitfield, myself, Killer Mike did the one in Atlanta with me. David Banner doing this one. And it's at the Apollo. There are also other prestigious, like real thespians and actors and motherfuckers who you really want to see them convey the messages from this very, very important book. So,
And now the book for those out there for Ta-Nehisi Coates, he has a new book called The Water Dancer too. But
Okay.
Between the World and Me was based on his experience and realization about coming.
it's a letter to his son.
And a letter to his son.
Well, he wrote a letter to his son and he turned it into a book. I guess, he kept a journal about, how he felt about his experiences as a black man growing up from his college years to after college to just the things that he saw happening. And those letters became a book, and that book is prolific.
Yeah, it's a game-changing book. It really, even if you're someone who pays attention,
Right.
there's something about his voice and the way he writes that just makes you understand things
Well,
in a different way.
he's a phenomenal journalist as well.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
He's special for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Give it up, man. Check T.I. out at the Apollo.
Right. You
Saturday
guys are
night.
invited. You guys are all invited.
I'm flying out to L.A., so I'm going to miss
Well,
this
yeah,
one.
you got big money shit to do. But everybody else who ain't got big money shit to do, you come on and check us out.
Thanks, Tip.
And what-
Right on.